Good morning, this is Mr. Cooper's disembodied hand talking to you. I'm going to be setting you work during this break from school. If you're wondering, if you're in Mr. Godber's group and wondering why it's not him, well, we've shared the load, so he's doing some groups, I'm doing others, and I'm delighted to be setting work for both our Year 9 top sets because you're really important groups to us. We're going to make sure that we use this time well, but it is going to require you all to be really independent. So I need you to think carefully about where and when you're going to do your weekly maths. I need you to think about how you're going to equip yourself. You're going to need some sort of paper, and I know most of you probably left your exercise books in school, and you're going to need some sort of screen to watch these videos and look at the resources I'm sharing. I am going to send some maths exercise books down to Bell's place where they're distributing the free school meals, so it might be somewhere where you can get hold of an exercise book, but if not, have you got a packer pad or some paper that you can use, and make sure you're organised and you're keeping it in one place. And you're going to have to mark your work most of the time, and you know that's a real change for you, isn't it? Most of the work I supply will have answers, but this isn't, you know, you're not going to be handing something in most of the time, so copying out answers would be pointless. So you're going to have to be really honest with yourself and think sensibly about how you approach it. So I'm going to set you work on a Monday, and that will allow us to progress through the GCSE scheme of work, which we have to do. I'm also going to try and build some extra challenge in there, just to keep you intrigued and interested. Sometimes that'll be on the topic we're talking about, other times it might be something a bit different. I'm then going to post an update on Friday, so I won't be posting work 3 times a week for the 3 lessons. You'll have work on a Monday and then something else on Friday. That might be answers to questions I've set you earlier in the week, or it might be something additional. We'll just see how we go. And in between Monday and Friday, then it's important that you keep in touch with me, particularly if you have problems. So it might be that I didn't explain something very well, so you send me an email and say, could you go through that again? Or it might be that there's a particular question that you couldn't do, and I can do a video answer for it on the Friday. So please keep in touch. M. Cooper, and then the normal school email address. Okay, so let's do some work. You need to decide whether you're going to take notes on what I go through, whether you're going to have worked examples. You'll have the videos to refer back to, of course. So you've got to think about how you're going to organise your work. We are moving on from fractions. We did a little bit of work on fractions, both groups, and so we're moving on to sharing using a ratio. So the next sequence of lessons will all be about ratio, and yeah, we've met ratio before, and we're going to jump straight into some sharing work. I'm going to come to more about ratios in detail later, well, not later, I mean in a subsequent week, but I think I just want to get on with some sums really. So let's leap straight into what we're going to be doing this week. There are 3 types of problem we need to be able to address. Okay, so here's the first type. I want you to imagine there are 2 people. Okay, we'll call them Fred and Barney. And Fred and Barney go into business together. And as always, when you start a business, you need to put some money in. So Fred puts in £3,000 and Barney puts in £5,000. And then at the end of the first year, they've made £16,000 profit. And it's not fair, is it, for them to share that money 50-50, because Barney put more money in the first place. So they need to share it appropriately. So what we do is this. We say, okay, here's the amount of money Fred and Barney invested as a ratio in its simplest form. So I'm sure you can see that the ratio of their investments is 3 to 5. And when we write a ratio like that, we tend not to put a unit in there. So that means that for every £3 Fred put in, Barney put in £5. And altogether, that was £16,000. I'm just going to write 16, I'm being lazy. And so hopefully you can see that with 8 shares altogether, each of those shares is worth £2. So 16 divided by 8 is £2. And therefore we can see that Fred gets 3 shares, so that's 3 lots of 2,000, and Barney gets 5 lots of 2,000. So the money is shared with Fred getting 6,000 and Barney getting 10,000. Now, do I have to set problems out like this? Well, no, you've got to show some method, but you know, if you felt comfortable, you could perhaps miss out the picture. However, I do think a picture is helpful, but I would certainly, if I was setting this work out, I would make it clear that 3 to 5 means 8 shares. I would calculate what each share is worth, and I would definitely make my answer nice and clear. Let's move on to the second type of problem then that we need to be able to solve. So here we've got Bill and Ben, and they share some money in the ratio 2 to 5, and we're not told how much they share, we're just told that Ben gets £75. So I've got Bill and Ben, ratio 2 to 5. And Ben gets £75. So hopefully you can see that that means that each of Ben's shares, 75 divided by 5, is 15. And the whole point about sharing is everyone gets a fair share. So that means Bill's shares must each be worth 15 as well. So Bill gets 2 times 15. Again, do you have to draw the pictures out? You do not. I would certainly, though, whenever I see a ratio like this, I would firstly write above each number which person it represents, because it's really easy to get confused, and the order of the words is always the same as the order of the numbers. Okay, here's the third type of problem. Seb and Noah get paid for a gig in the ratio 2 to 5. Let's do what I told you to do. Let's write above each number what it's worth. I don't know why Noah gets paid more. Perhaps he I don't know, did more work. I don't know. But anyway, he's getting £15 more than Seb. So Seb's getting 2 shares. Noah's getting 5 shares. And we know that the extra that Noah gets is 15. And this is why I love the picture so much, because I think the picture makes it really obvious then that each of those shares must be worth 5, and the whole point about sharing is that it's fair, so every one of those shares is 5. So we know that Seb got £10. And of course this question could have asked, how much did they get altogether? Well, they got 7 times 5, £35. How much did Noah get altogether? 5 times 5, £25. So you've always got to make sure that at the end that you've actually answered the question they asked. Okay, so there's 3 sorts of problems. Nothing super complicated there, hopefully, but important to make sure that you're clear in the way you set things out. And I do think that the picture helps. So what I've set you on class charts are 2 pieces of work. You've got a standard set of questions, and they're a mixture. And they don't say this is a type 1, this is a type 2, this is a type 3, they're just a mixture. So you've got to read the question carefully and work out what sort it is. You've got answers to those questions on the second page. There's then a set of 3 challenge questions without answers, and I want you to attempt those, and I'm going to go through solutions to those on Friday. All the best, stay safe, stay sensible, try and get exercise when you can, and I look forward to talking to you again on Friday.